Hey all, Hipper here. So if you're like me and you are suffering from withdrawals from Baldur's Gate 3 once you are on a plane or somewhere away from your computer or your console, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because in this video here I'll show you a very nice alternative that you can actually play on your iPad. So if you're not aware of this, I highly recommend that you download this game here from the App Store once you get a chance, and it will help you, survive your time away from Baldur's Gate 3. So the game I'm talking about is obviously Divinity Original Sin 2, and it is available on the App Store. You need a pretty beefy iPad to run it, but if you have that and a lot of space, it's 18 gigabytes minimum, then you can play Divinity Original Sin anywhere basically. And I know it's not Baldur's Gate 3, but if you ask me, I actually think Divinity Original Sin is better than Baldur's Gate 3 in most aspects. Perhaps the story in Baldur's Gate 3 and the story scenes are better, but everything else, items, combat, exploration, everything else is better in Divinity Original Sin 2. And the two games look pretty much alike. Now, Original Sin 2 was released in 2018, I believe, and it's still going strong. It's still an awesome game, so I highly recommend downloading it. So despite being quite a demanding game, Original Sin 2 actually runs really well on an iPad, and I think that's why Larian are suggesting, or not suggesting, they are demanding that you run it on very powerful iPads. So you need something like an M1 processor in there to actually, run the game. But once you do, and if you have that, which is not that, rare anymore, most iPads these days actually have an M1, if not an M2 processor in them, so pretty much, unless you buy the cheapest iPads out there, you'll be able to run the game. So it runs smooth and really well, and you can even play multiplayer in it. And a very nice thing about playing this on the iPad, especially if you're on a plane or something, is that you can just pass the iPad back and forth, and you can play multiplayer that way. So you and your friend, or 4 friends if you want to go into extremes, just take turns, equipping their hero and taking their heroes, turns in fights and stuff like that. It works really well. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of this, because some people think that Baldur's Gate 3 is just came out of thin air, and that's not the case. Larian actually worked more than a decade on the Divinity series, and it shows, because I still think Divinity Original Sin 2 is the pinnacle of turn-based combat. Like I said, it's even better than Baldur's Gate 3. So if you love Baldur's Gate 3, and you're not even aware of the Divinity games, absolutely download them and play them. And if you are aware of Divinity games, then just make sure you realize that you can actually play this on an iPad away from everything else, and it works beautifully. So just a little heads up here, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you out there.